We are talking about maximizing your summer writing and really about how to complete an R01 grant efficiently and without a lot of stress. So, a lot of PIs think about writing their big grants over the summer in anticipation of those fall deadlines. And today we're going to talk a little bit about how to do that as efficiently as possible. So, if you're new around here, I am Sarah Dobson. I am a research grant consultant, and my team and I help early career researchers get funded at NIH. So, the way that I want to start out this conversation is to remind you that it's really easy to just sort of wave your hands and say, yeah, I'm going to write an R01 this summer without really putting anything concrete around that. And that's where PIs can get into a lot of trouble, especially if you're sort of new to this process. Not really sort of mapping everything out and having a firm plan in place to get it done means that you can get to the end of the summer and really not have created much progress at all. And so the way to avoid that is to get really specific about what it is that you're doing and when. And this is essentially, basic project management, and basic in the sense that you just need some sort of core tools and skills to be able to map out this project. But it's not basic in the sense that an R01 is a massive undertaking. And so it's actually really important to put some structure about how you're going to execute that. So the easiest way to think about this, obviously, is to work backwards from the deadline that you are working towards. And whether that's the actual NIH deadline or, more often than not, your internal institutional deadline where things need to be sort of in the system before it actually gets submitted to NIH. So if you're working backwards from that, you want to look at the number of weeks that you have available to you to work on this application, and realistically, the number of hours that you are able to commit to writing. But beyond that, what is really, really important for you to think about is, even if you have protected a certain number of hours per week to write your R01, how are you actually going to be spending those hours? What is actually going to happen in each of those blocks of protected time, right? Because it's one thing just to have, again, a sort of vague hand wavy idea of like, yes, I'm going to work on my grant today. But unless you have a specific plan in place for each of the writing sessions that you have blocked out, that time can very quickly become inefficient. And so this is where, again, that project management planning comes in really handy and really crucially, right? Is to make sure that you are prepared for each and every one of those protected blocks and you know exactly what you're going to be doing. But if you're new to this process, you might not actually even know what needs to be done. And so that also requires some planning on the front end around, like, what am I actually getting myself into here? And it's super boring, but reading the guidelines, reading the instructions, really familiarizing yourself with the process so that you understand what you're actually trying to do and all of the little bits and pieces that are necessary for you to get that done. And if you're lucky, you have good support from your research support office at your institution, and they can provide resources and help guide you in certain capacities to be able to figure a lot of that stuff out. But one way or another, if you don't have access to that, one way or another, you're going to have to figure out what all of those pieces are and how you're going to check off all of those boxes as you prepare your grant. But bottom line, the most important thing that you can do in advance of this summer block of time that you have to write is to create a plan, to have not only a project management plan, but a success strategy. right? So we've talked a little bit about the planning side. Now let's talk about the strategic side of things. And this is really, first of all, first and foremost, about not wasting your own time. So this is about making sure that you are eligible for the grant that you are writing, and that all of the elements are in place so that your grant is compliant at the very basic level, right? Because if you're spending all of this time over the summer writing a grant that's not even going to pass the compliance review, that is a giant waste of your time. So make sure that you have done that basic strategic work at the outset to figure out if you're even eligible and if it's even worth your time to submit the application. And then, of course, the next level of strategy is really figuring out how you can make your grant as competitive as possible. And that's going to involve some strategic homework around alignment with your target institute or center, and really how you frame your application so that it is aligned with the mission and priorities of your target funding institute or center and the study section that your application will ultimately end up in. So those are really the ways that you want to prepare yourself in advance. Again, we've got the planning component and we've got the strategy component. And within that, you also want to consider eventually how you are going to get feedback on your application, right? So feedback actually comes into the planning side of things because you want to make sure that you're giving the people that you're asking for feedback enough heads up so that they know when it's coming and that they can block out time in their own schedule to be able to take a look at the materials that you provide them. So these are some of the things that you want to be thinking about at the outset. If you are writing an application this summer and you're looking for some guidance as you do this, we have a self-paced course called the Grant Funding Formula that walks you through exactly how to write an R01 grant step by step. And we take you through all of these different phases of the process, from that initial strategy to make sure that your grant is, first of all, compliant and competitive, and then how you actually write each section of the application so that it is as competitive as it can possibly be. And it's really, that part is really about applying rhetorical frameworks and strategies to the different sections of the application so that you know what you're trying to accomplish in each section of your grant and that you're able to do that convincingly. So that self-paced program is available anytime. You can take a look at what the course entails at the link below this video, just to find out a little bit more about it. And if you're watching this now or around the time that it is published, we have a special promotion on right now for the grant funding formula. Anybody who's registering during this period up until April 30th, we're offering a special summer writing bonus package. So we've got a few extra things in there for you to help make the writing process go even smoother over the course of the summer. So definitely check out the registration page and find out more about the program and all of these special bonuses. And I look forward to seeing you inside the course. All right, see you next time.